It's Deprogrammed, the podcast where we try to get you into a band or artist. Today's artist is Metric, and we'll talk about them in just a second because hard work does indeed work. Actually, you know what? I'm going to pull up this text from Joe because he told me exactly what he wants me to push because I always F this up. Where is my text to Joe? The app, the Hard Work Works app, free 2-week trial currently. That gets you 10 workouts. And then it's $10 a month after if you dig it. And currently he's also offering FaceTime and Skype sessions for a free consult if you need the extra push, which I may have to do because I cannot get on my tip-top physical game. But Joe will push you. Coach Joe will get it done for you. All you have to do is download that app, hashtag join the hustle, get yourself in tip-top physical. We're talking about Metric today. And actually, I was very surprised at this. Hector, you put Metric on the board.
Oh yeah.
So talk to me about your relationship with Metric. Why was Metric important for us to talk about today?
I'm still in the throes of my love affair with this band, and even this past week, going back to their library, it just keeps escalating. It's I'm so glad we're doing this, Justin, because this is so easy. This is a band that's so easy to be enthusiastic about. I discovered them around 2007, 8 or 9, somewhere in there. Some radio station in Arizona when I was living there, with the rock station on the weekend was playing like stuff that wasn't, normally cycling through. And this little Canadian band got a little bit of a spotlight, and I can't remember which track it was. It was all fantasies. It was either Gold Guns Girls or Help I'm Alive. It's one of those two. And ever since then, I've just been so intrigued with that band. And and it's been, like I said, I'm still just loving the hell out of this band.
So the reason I said I was surprised that Hector put him on the board is because Metric is one of those bands that I know you love, Bryan.
Yeah.
So like I actually, the moment Hector said it, I texted you and said, "Hey, don't you love Metric?" So
that I do.
So walk me through it. What is your relationship like with Metric?
I think the first song I ever heard of theirs was probably Gold Gun Girls. And I had a lukewarm reaction to it. I didn't really think much of it. And then I heard, I dated a woman who I went on to be engaged to for a while. She was like the first love of my life. And she played Collect Call from Fantasies. And that's when I really started to take a listen. And then Scott Pilgrim comes out, and Black Sheep is the greatest fucking song I've ever written as far as I'm concerned. And then I was like a huge fan after that. And then I think they keep getting better with every record. Not every record is as good as the other one, but I think they're a better band. And I think that their good songs on those records are the best representation of what they sound like. And then I kind of discovered their back discography, probably around, I guess it was when Synthetica came out. I started going backwards with some stuff.
Synthetica. So I didn't know this band at all, period. Like I knew I'd seen on Spotify Bryan listening to them a couple times, and he had mentioned his love for the band at one point. But they've been peripheral, I guess, on the periph, but it doesn't even feel like they were that close. Although you mentioned Scott Pilgrim, that was the vibe I get from their discography. Like that's that same feeling that movie gives me is, and you mentioned a love affair, Hector. I fell in love with this band this week.
That's so awesome.
And it happened with the Rentals, Super Drag. Like it's happened a handful of times. Usually I really enjoyed my time with. I think fall in love with the band is like the perfect way to put it because there's like this pop sensibility to them.
Yeah.
Where they don't mind rocking. There's plenty of rocking, but there's also plenty of emotion. There's they take the twists and turns, and I think you put it well, Bryan. Each album they get better as a band.
Yeah.
And while each album isn't always better than the last, they are a better band. Like, and it's noticeable. Because there's 2 albums that I didn't like as much, but I could appreciate the songs. I could appreciate the albums as a whole. Because then eventually they do whatever they were trying in those records better on the next one. So it's like,
yeah.
As always, I think this is one of the toughest 20 I've ever come down to. So I'm curious, somebody, both of you in love with this band, Hector, what was it like for you putting this 20 together?
It was fun because the 3 of us on the Facebook messenger there this past week, your guys' enthusiasm, Bryan's, and then knowing what you were going through, Justin, like it was building up my enthusiasm even more. I was like, oh, this is going to be a great recording. I had already had a metric playlist, my go-to, and I think it only had like 14 tracks or something like that, because I had to go back and Bryan, you were saying how you went back in their discography at some point.
Yeah.
I'm most familiar from Fantasies till now.
Yeah.
And this past week I had to take a deep dive with those first couple albums, and there's a couple songs that made it that are new to my playlist to fill out the 20 that I am riding high on this past week. There's a song in particular that I'm pretty sure is going to make it onto our list. That is, I've just been listening to nonstop all week long. So it's just been pretty great putting this playlist together. Which actually, I was going to make a joke that we could just use my playlist and we could just spend the rest of the hour just talking about music in general. Because I'm so proud of my metric playlist. But I had a playlist already, but then I QS'd it. I ended up filling it out to 20, and it was not. It was a lot of fun, and like I said, I'm pretty proud of it.
So, Bryan, I know that you and I were playing in the Facebook group.
Yeah.
How torturous was this one for you?
I mean, when I initially thought about my list, I already had a ton of songs picked out because those are already the songs I know I love. But then it became very loaded in a certain direction, and I wanted to diversify it. So that was the hard part, like cutting songs that I really fucking love, to add stuff that maybe I newly discovered or slept on at first. So it was nice to rediscover. Like when Pagans in Vegas came out, I thought it was a disappointment for me, because Synthetica was so fucking amazing, and then they did the soundtrack to Cosmopolis, which I loved, with Howard Shore, and they were kind of riding high on this soundtrack, kind of ethereal kind of addition to their music, and then Pagan in Vegas it wasn't remarkable to me, and then I kind of rediscovered it doing this list, because I loved the album after that, The Art of Doubt. I thought was amazing. But I found myself loving a lot of stuff from Pagans in Vegas. It's honestly, I don't know why I ever slipped on it. I feel stupid.
So I will say this, while the gameplay here may be bloody, but I think it won't be bloody like hard-handedly, because I think you can pick 10 and have a very accurate depiction of this band. Because I like you, Bryan, I tried to even it out. I found I had a lot of Synthetica. Like I had almost the entire album. That's why I put in there. I was like, "What the fuck, Synthetica?" Like,
yeah, it really is their best record as far as I'm concerned.
It is. I mean, and then even coming back through it and making that next round of cuts, I'm like, "Well, what the fuck am I supposed to cut? Like, these are all fucking great tracks. Like, I don't know what to bring into battle here."
And the thing is that I don't think it was that successful. comparatively to Fantasies. I mean, Fantasies is their biggest record. I think nobody cared when Synthetica came out, and I was like, how the fuck are you guys sleeping on this record? It's amazing. It's their best work.
Interesting. I wasn't sure about that, or I didn't know about that. But you mentioned Art of Doubt, like, because I had that same feeling coming through Pagans when I came up to Pagans in Vegas. I was like, like I didn't not like it, but I was like, this just kind of feels like a pause, like in their ascension. And then like I listened to Art of Doubt and was like, oh, there they are.
Right back, yeah.
And
there's some great tracks on that record, man. On Art of Doubt, oh my gosh.
And then I feel like, God, I don't even know, man. Like this is a great freaking band, and the fact that there's literally multiple albums that I could have taken the entire thing and gone, okay, I'll take this album, and here's my list.
It's crazy. I'm sorry, Justin. It's crazy how underrated this band, like, or not underrated, but like just under the radar.
Yeah,
I would say underrated is apt. I mean, I know a lot of people who like them, but like it's like cult movies. Like it's the same people who like cult movies. Like I think they have an underground following, despite having maybe a gold record. I'm not sure. Like I think that Fantasies went gold, or at least, but they have sustained a career. They did film scores. I mean, they had a very successful career from what I would call a successful career. But I don't think they've done it really with outside of Scott Pilgrim and maybe a video too on MTV at one point. I don't think they really had much mainstream success.
It's because they're Canadian.
Yeah.
But so here's the one thing I want to say before we get into actual gameplay. Like, it's rare that a band can make the changes that Metric does. Like, they make the tweaks on every record and still be able to make it still that band. Like, every album sounds like a Metric album. There isn't one that doesn't sound like them, even though each of the albums absolutely sounds different from each other. So that kind of consistency, not like I talked about on the Chevelle episode, where Chevelle's, say what you want about them, Chevelle sounds like Chevelle. If you listen to whatever 9 albums I think it was that we went through, they sound like Chevelle. And
you have 9 albums?
It might even be more, but but like they sound like Chevelle. Like that's what they sound like, and it's not, there's a couple variations, but they stayed true to their sound. Whereas Metric, they made major modifications throughout and still managed to make those modifications sound like Metric, which not a lot of bands can pull off.
It's like Radiohead. I don't want to compare them to Radiohead. I mean, Radiohead's one of the greatest things in the world. But every record they make sounds like Radiohead, but every record sounds completely different.
And I definitely there's points that I got Radiohead vibes from Metric though, sound wise. So, with that being said, the name of the game is Deprogrammed. We have each combed through 7 records and plucked out 20 songs each that we're now going to mash together in an attempt to create a top 10 star kit for you in case Metric was on your pay no mind list, or I think Under the Radar and Underrated is apt. I think that's exactly what this band is. Let's give them a little love. And I don't know where to start, but I have to start somewhere on Synthetica. And I think I'm going to go with Youth Without Youth.
No, that was a hard cut for me.
See?
But
here we go.
That one is on my was on my original playlist.
Oh, okay.
My go-to playlist. Yes.
It was on my first pass, which is like heavily just Fantasies and Synthetica and Art of Doubt.
Well, and I was just listening to it just before we called. Like, I was trying to get one last listen to the 20, and for 2 reasons. Number one, to like reacclimate myself to the songs, but also just because I wanted to listen to them. Which, again, that doesn't happen a lot with me for these. All right, so we will move. That moves us into the conversation. We'll move to Hector.
All right. Let's see what I got off of Synthetica, since we're pretty fond of that one. I've got The Void.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, no.
That's good. That's got to be one of my favorites of theirs and their entire
Same here.
discography.
It is top 3 for me. Favorite songs.
Yeah, same here. Yep.
What's interesting is, like, at this point, I may have just cut it just because I had so much from that album.
I mean, that's what happened with Youth Without Youth for me. Like, I just had to cut.
You have to cut something
for something else.
Yeah. All right, so let me move that to the conversation.
I love the energy in that song when they. Yeah.
It's a rocker for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's like dancey. It encapsulates what they do. It's like electronic, indie, dance, and it's still like a rock band too. Like
her attitude, Emily Haynes. Just the band. It all comes together.
I love her attitude. Like that's something that cannot be overlooked in this band. I can't believe it took us this long to get here. I guess like the songs are what brought that out, but like there's definitely this attitude for her, and I'm sure this will come up again once we get to some of the other songs. But I just wanted to put that right there. All right, Bryan.
I mean, I would describe her before I get into my pick. Like we just did TLC not too long ago. I would describe her as like crazy, sexy, cool, like as a like personified as a person.
Yeah, there you go.
Like she writes about some very female conscious lyrics. She has a lot of like a punk rock attitude in a way that like Shirley Manson would. And then she's just fucking sexy. She has great voice, and I mean she's great. I love her. All right, I'll stay on this record too. Artificial Nocturne.
No.
That's off of the last album, right? Art of Doubt.
No. Artificial Nocturne is the opening track for Synthetica.
Yeah. By the way, and this comes up whenever we do these opening tracks. These guys are pretty good with the opening tracks.
Yeah, they are.
I think they're great with their opening tracks, but they're not with their closing tracks. I think that there's better closing tracks a few songs before the actual closing track, and I'm like, that would have been a better.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That wasn't on my list.
Unfortunately, mine either. And I think that one probably suffered the same fate as a lot of, because I was only able to pull. I tried to be and I think when you look at it, I think the most I have is 4 from an album. Yeah. Most of them each have 3. So
I made myself limit to 4. So.
All right, let me move over to Fantasies then and see if I can find you guys. And I just listened to this like 10 minutes before we went on. Stadium Love.
No.
Yes.
Okay. Conversation.
When I thought I had this is a couple years back when I thought I had my playlist, because I love curating playlists of the bands I love, just making it like the perfect set of songs and the perfect length of what my fantasy album of that band would be by picking and choosing their songs, which song comes first and whatnot. That song wasn't on that original playlist, and I got to shout out a podcast that I listened to for years called Hideous Energy, and I got to know the guys on there. They're a couple guys from Indiana, and we were talking music on Facebook Messenger or whatever when I was getting to know them online, and they suggested Stadium Love, and it was the perfect. That's what up until this past week, that was my end song. That was the last song on my playlist, and I just thought, what a great song to kind of like finish a playlist out. And it's funny because the guys on that podcast, one of the first episodes that I remember listening to was them like coming up with a top 10 list of like animals to pit each other against or something like that. So it's weird that then years later they recommended Stadium Love, and that song is about pitting animals together. Like, I mean, there's more to it than that, but on the surface the lyrics are angel versus, or what is it, owl versus dove, and that's a great song. That is on my playlist. That is on my deprogrammed. I
initially passed it through just because there wasn't anything there to cut. And I was like, okay, whatever. It's a song that I like enough to not cut. And then when I went back through the second time, I was like, oh shit, I'm glad I didn't cut this because now I'm getting another listen to it. So, all right.
Did you have that on yours, Bryan?
Brian did not. Did we lose Brian?
Uh-oh.
It looks like we lost Brian.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
What's the plan?
All right. Let me pause the. All right. So Stadium Love moves to the conversation, and that takes us to Hector.
Mm-hmm. All right. So next here, Stadium Love was on Fantasies. Maybe I'll stick with Fantasies. Shit. I'm gonna go with Help I'm Alive.
Yep.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah, there it is. Broke it finally.
Finally got it.
Yeah. Like that one has to.
Yeah.
That's like a can't miss. And I mean it's a perfect encapsulation of their sound, their feeling, her mood, like, and it like just that line, help I'm alive. It's catchy, but it still displays that there's something darker here. I love that tune.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good one. It's a perfect opening track too.
Yep. All right.
For a sign of things to come.
All right, Brian?
All right, this is technically not on any album, but it is their greatest song. I mentioned it at the top of the show. This is my number one with a bullet. I think it is the quintessential Metric song, Black Sheep.
That's definitely on mine.
All right, so I'm going to put that into the convo. I didn't listen to that. Like I didn't include it.
It's fucking perfect, dude. It's so good.
It's the song on Scott Pilgrim that
which means
Captain Marvel
that
Clash and Demon Head sing, yeah.
Mm-hmm, which means I've heard it. I just didn't equate it because I didn't know at the time. So I have no problem when we get there if we have the room pushing it through. I
can tell you now that is the one I'm gonna fight for regardless.
Yeah, just like Help I'm Alive. That song has to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and I mean, again, I think the listeners agree with you. I'm pretty sure we got that one as a from the listeners. So
I love how the way they, like in Scott Pilgrim with Clash at Demon Head, how I don't know, it was so seamlessly put into that movie. Like it seemed like that was a song that, you know, that fictional band. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that's where I discovered that song, and then looked into it, and pretty memorable part of that movie.
Yeah.
All right, so I think the line is "Shake your head, it's empty." I'm going to go with "Empty."
No, I don't have it.
No, that was on my list. I had to make room for other songs, but that's early Metric, isn't it?
Live It Out. Yep.
Yeah.
Live It Out. Honestly, I was there's like three of the records to me from start to finish are perfect. That is one of them. Fantasies and then Synthetica, obviously, but that is a great record. Live It Out.
I'm glad you said that because I'm almost completely.
I had a lot from there. I had to cut.
I'm almost in complete lockstep with you because those were the three that stood out to me the most. Was those three. So interesting. See, and this I think is where the problem comes in. I say that, but like it's going to be agreeable. I think we'll find our 10 no problem, but I think it's just because there's so many albums that are so good, like our song choices are going to be all right. Hector.
All right. I'll stick with Live It Out. The one track I'm going to have to go back and re-listen to that album. But the one track I picked from that one is Too Little Too Late. Is that the name of that track?
That is the name of the track. I do not have that one though.
Nor do I, unfortunately.
That was one I had to force myself to cut to make room for other things. I didn't just put that whole record on there.
Yeah, that would have happened to me too. I still ended up with 4 from this record. So
nice.
All right, Bryan.
One of my favorite songs that she's written lyrically Again, it speaks to the pro women feminist kind of point of view. Love this song, "Poster of a Girl."
Ooh. Yeah, I had that, and I had to make room for other tracks. That's a great song. I love those lyrics.
Yeah.
When I talk about 22, 23, talk about it being so effing close to my final 20.
It's so good. I mean, I was willing to cut other things from that record. That was the one I would absolutely not touch for me.
She's a gifted songwriter, like lyrically, like a wordsmith. Like that's one of the things that early on just impressed me so much. Just the wordplay, the choices and her tone, everything. She's really gifted that way.
All right, I'm gonna trot something out from Art of Doubt here.
All right.
Dress to Suppress.
Oh, I love that song. It's definitely on mine.
It's a good one, but it didn't make my cut.
Oh,
Okay.
Bryan.
Yeah, I know.
See what I mean? Like, it's bloody, but it's not. We're not necessarily disagreeing.
No, not at all. No, yeah.
No, I mean that whole record's great too, man. I mean that's I was blown away when that record came out because I didn't even realize it was coming out because like I said after Pagans in Vegas I was like okay, and then that record came out and I heard some songs from it and I was like fuck, this is great. Like they're back with a vengeance as far as I'm concerned.
I got to be honest, like when I listened to Pagans in Vegas, I was like, oh, cool. You know, maybe we're finally on the downslope. Maybe the rest of this I won't pull that much from. And then I started Art of Doubt. I was like, oh shit.
Art of Doubt is immediately fantastic.
All right. So that moves over to the conversation. Hector, it is your turn.
All right. Let's see here. I'll stick with Art of Doubt. I'm gonna go with Love You Back.
Nah.
All right.
God dang it.
That album, giving that album more love now. It had 2018, I think it was. It came out the week I'd never gone to Europe before. I went to England, took a week and a half there. All my favorite bands are from England, or most of them. Pink Floyd, Radiohead. I mean, just a ton of bands that I love from there. And that album coincided, the release of that album. I was in England when Art of Doubt came out. So anytime I listen to that album, I'll have the kind of nostalgic That's awesome. I remember, I was like, oh yes, my time in England and stuff. And so it's just funny how nostalgia will kind of factor in sometimes to stuff. You have to kind of just check your nostalgia, but it's still, I agree. It's a really strong album.
All right. Bryan.
I will stay on that record. This is one of my favorite songs of theirs, just in general. I think it's my favorite song from this record by far. Die Happy.
Yes.
No, I love that song as well, but no, it didn't make it on mine.
All right, but it goes to the conversation. All right. I always cringe whenever somebody leads with, I think this is my favorite song of whatever. All right.
Because you just know it's not going to go through.
I know, right? I've just seen so many hearts broken when it leads that way. So, shoot. I'm gonna go with one of my few from Grow Up and Blow Away. And again, this is one I listened to earlier, just kind of reaffirming my thoughts on the song. Soft Rock Star.
No.
Okay.
No.
Into the trash it goes.
I actually don't have anything from that record on here.
Oh.
Because it doesn't sound like Metric to me. And the reason for that is they recorded it in 2001, and it got delayed for 6 years from the label. And they sounded so different by the time it got released that they went back and tried to re-record some stuff and add stuff to it. To me, it doesn't sound like Metric. It just sounds like a regular, just kind of bland indie rock band. It's the only album I don't have any representation from.
It's technically their first album, right? Or kind of,
yeah,
right? Or,
yeah.
So, on that note, that is the first time where I felt like that album. I was just like, are we done here? Because the first two are great, but then
I don't want to cut anything from a greater record to put anything from that record that I don't like on. You know, just for the sake of having everything represented. I don't think it's a good representation of the band at all.
Fair enough. All right. So Soft Rockstar was me, Hector.
So I mentioned earlier that I've been riding high on a particular track this past week that I discovered, and I feel it would be the perfect starter for a playlist, a metric playlist. But I'm kind of worried since Bryan said he didn't add anything from this album. Grow Up and Blow Away. I've been on a dopamine rush with this song all week.
Man, the listeners agree with you.
If I were going to add one, that would have been the only one that I would have added. But
that one made my initial pass through.
Okay.
I don't know. I honestly don't know what it was. Like when I listened to the next record, like I immediately had like a negative connotation of that entire record. So like I was looking.
It feels off. Like in the succession of album to album,
which we just found out why. Like it makes sense, but like that's to me that's the weakest of their albums. I was able to pull stuff for representation purposes. I feel bad. Like Hector just did the thing, and it hit him
I've been
right in the gut.
enjoying this. I mean, if we hadn't done this, I don't know if I would have ever discovered that song. So.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
All right, Bryan.
Okay. Let's go to their technically first record, technically second record, Combat Baby.
Nope.
No,
that's a great one too. Yeah, but no, it didn't make it onto mine. What's it? That's Our World Under, right?
Yeah.
Name of that track. Our World Underground. Where Are You Now?
Yep.
Yeah, that Combat Baby did not make it onto mine.
Again, one of those, that album, when I initially started hearing it, I was like, oh man, this is on that Justin vein. Like it's so close that like I pulled so much through from that record initially. And then like you get to the next one and it's like, okay.
I had a bunch too. I don't think she found her voice yet. Like her voice isn't, she's not the great singer she is now on that record. And that's one thing that like is a hindrance for me. I still love it. I think there's a lot of great songs on there, but I wish that I don't know. Like sometimes bands will go back and re-record their old stuff when they're better bands, you know. And most of the time it doesn't work out, but sometimes it does. And I just think if they redid the vocals, that would be fucking amazing. But
for that record, I tried to go through and pull out the stuff that kind of sounds like where they're gonna go. And as an example, since it's my turn, Hustle Rose.
Yes, that one's on mine.
All right. Thank you for saving me there, Hector.
Man, we are not even out of NTP right now. This is crazy.
I know, right? It's well, and like I said, but I think even if we have to pull something out of the track, like this is right now it's bloody, but it will be agreeable. Like our 10 will be found rather easily. So I'm not worried about that. Usually I worry. But okay, what do we got? 1 in and 7 in the conversation.
Yeah,
I think. All right, Hector.
I'm gonna go with track off of Art of Doubt, Underline the Black.
No.
All right.
And I'm going to make that weird groaning sound for every single one, because it hurts. Those cuts hurt. They were painful. All right, Bryan?
I'll stay on that record, too. The first track I ever heard from this record, which blew me away, Risk.
No.
So good, man. So good.
I'm going to have to go back and re-listen to... Art of Doubt is...
It's really... It's got some bangers on it, for sure.
Really
All right, I'm gonna stay on that record, too, then. Dark Saturday.
That was my last cut from the whole list.
Yeah, I didn't make it onto mine. Okay. And it's still a fantastic song. Yeah.
All right. All right.
Was that not one of the first? That was one of the first singles, or I forget.
I think it was. I know it was the last single they released too. Like that's their last official release on Spotify. Is a live version of that.
Oh. All right, Hector.
Oh, let's see. Okay, well, I'm gonna go to one of my go-to favorites. Too Bad, So Sad.
Yes.
Again, one of the last cuts I made.
Yeah. Oh, is that not Pagans in Vegas, right?
It is. Yep.
Yeah.
Which again was the other album that I had a hard time with, as far as pulling stuff through. All right. Goes to the conversation though, because two of us had it. All right, Bryan.
All right, from that record, I'll go Cascades.
Nope.
No. It's taking me back though to I remember at that point I was already a fan and I bought that album right when it came out. And, it kind of takes me back.
All right, so we have 1 all the way through and 8 in the conversation. So worst case scenario, everything goes in and we get to pull something out of the trash if it gets that far.
I think we're gonna be okay.
I think so too. All right. Let me go back to Fantasies. Sick Muse.
Hold on. No, that's one of the hardest cuts for me because I love that whole record. It's so good.
That's a yes for me.
All right.
Sick Muse did make it on there. Yep.
All right. Officially out of NTP.
Out of NTP. Yay.
Yes. So if anybody who's worrying and sweating at home, no
Besides
need to.
Me.
Is it hot in here or am I sweating?
I gotta go lift weights.
What? All right. Hector.
All right. I go back to Grow Up and Blow Away, that album. Raw Sugar off of that album.
Yes. Yep.
Oh, sweet.
Well, we know I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
That was the only other one I had from that record. So take that and do with that information what you will, Hector. All right, Bryan.
All right, Synthetica. I have Breathing Underwater.
No, that one didn't make it on my.
God.
I mean that the first 8 tracks on that record are the best shit for me.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how bad that song hurt to cut?
That was one of the ones I would never cut. I would cut other songs from that record except for The Void and Breathing Underwater.
That's one thing leading up to the recording today. I was like, I'm so excited for this band, and I was excited about your guys' enthusiasm that I'm planning on making playlists. I'm planning on making playlists from your guys'. I want to make a Justin metric playlist and a Bryan one, just separately, just so I can later listen to them.
Well, after we play the game, I'll share you my link. So all you have to do is look at it instead of trying to listen and find it on your own.
Yeah.
All right. So that brings it back to me, huh? Okay. I'm gonna go back to Live It Out and Handshakes.
No.
No.
Oh, into the trash.
Live it out.
All right. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm down to my last 7. So, all right.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have 9 left.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. 10.
Oh,
10
geez.
left.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hector, it is your turn.
Yeah, I have 7 left as well. Let's see. I'm gonna go with Satellite Mind.
Yes, I have that. Damn it, man.
That's an awesome song.
That's fun.
Well,
that's she's got a line in there where she says something about can't live without your ghost, can't live without your I'll have to look that up. again, with her lyrics and her choices and stuff. That reminds me, I did get to see her live. I haven't seen Metric live, but I saw her live in Chicago in this like theater. What's the name of that theater? It was like a really intimate, small theater with like balconies and shit. And it was her and what is it? The Soft Skeleton, I think is the name of her kind of side group.
So yeah.
And it was for what was the name of that album? Choir of the Mind. Mm-hmm. And dude, it was like magical. It was like transformative, that experience. The track off of that album that I would recommend for Emily Haines fans is Statuette. And just again with her writing abilities, so on a level. But Satellite Mind was my choice, but doesn't look like it's unanimous.
No. I got it though. At least.
It goes into the conversation. So anytime you hear me do that long, painful one, like it was easily in the first pass, and that should at least give you that much. So, all right, Bryan.
All right, I'll go from Fantasies. I mentioned this song as the first song I like really got into him on, and Collect Call.
Oh, God.
No, I thought you were going somewhere else, Bryan. No, sorry, I didn't have that one on mine.
No,
it's so good. I mean, I have a sentimental attachment to it because of who introduced me to it, but
like honestly, now that I'm looking at the few songs remaining from that album, there's only two I think that got cut initially. Like in my initial listen through, only two were like, you know what, nah. So that again tells you about the strength of that album. All right, let me go back to Old World Underground and see if I can find you guys. Sexy. Oh, the silence is different.
That was a hard cut.
That was along with Combat Baby. Yeah, I was like, oh, this is a good one, but yeah, I didn't quite make it.
Okay, all right. I'm trash. I get it. All right, Hector.
And I did find the lyrics in Satellite Mind that I couldn't remember. I can feel you most when I'm alone. I can feel your ghost when I'm alone. And just little subtle things like that, but just the way she delivers it, so great. So it's my turn. Is this off of? I think this is off of Pagans in Vegas. For Kicks.
No.
I don't have that one now.
No. All right,
Bryan.
Okay. Hold on. Let me pull up my list here. Kind of fell off the radar here. Okay, from Synthetica, Speed the Collapse.
Oh yeah. Yep.
No.
Damn it.
I never thought in a 3-person panel that it'd be so hard to find the unanimouses. But again, I hate to like be so repetitive, but it is just a strong discography.
Yeah. That's why saying earlier to make 3 different playlists. Might be the way to go.
All right. So
I'm sorry. I forget whose turn it is now.
It is mine, I believe.
All right.
I just did Speed the Collapse. So it's you.
All right. I don't care if you guys don't have this one. I like this one a lot. Patriarch on a Vespa.
Oh, thank God! I'm so glad I actually hit it. You're like, nonchalant about it. Yeah, I got that one.
I'm embarrassed. Which album is that on?
That's on Live It Out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't make it on mine. Well, what was the name of the track again?
Patriarch on a Vespa. All right, let me move that to the conversation. Well, see, now the second layer of cuts, again, is going to be really hard for us because we've got a lot to choose from. And I'm down to my last 4. So we'll finish this round, and then I'll just clear out what I got left. All right, Hector?
I'm going to go with Gold, Guns, and Girls.
Yeah. I chose Help I'm Alive over that because as far as the singles, like the big singles from that record for me. But
I knew I had heard Gold Guns and Girls
song
before. It really is, and it definitely made my first pass. But I was like, I don't know what it was. Like something about it when I went back through it didn't click right with me as far as for representation of them. It may have been a calculated risk. I might have been cutting it because I was like, oh, well, they'll have it. And here we go. Incorrect on my part. All right, Bryan?
All right. Let's go. I see this is one of the listeners' picks. Dead Disco.
Oh, nope.
No. What album is that one on?
That's on their first record.
Okay.
Technically their first record.
Yes, now I remember hearing it, yeah. No, it didn't make it on my list, no.
All right, so I'm just going to clear what I got left, see if I can find you guys here. And then, so from Synthetica.
No.
Okay.
No.
How
It was
about
a hard cut. I mean, they were all hard cuts from that record for me. Oh.
from Old World Underground, On a Slow Night?
No.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Mm.
From Live It Out, Ending Start?
Mm-mm.
No.
All out on my own here. I'm glad I waited till the end to play these ones. And last but not least, from Pagans in Vegas, The Shade.
Yes, I have The Shade.
No.
All right, so into the conversation it goes. All right. You want to clear yours out, Hector?
Sure, I got, it looks like I got 3 left. I've got Wet Blanket.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that was one of the first cuts I made. But I also regretted it too.
All right, the last song that I added, but I was pretty familiar with, and was "Gimme Sympathy." It's off of Fantasies.
Shit. I think I had that at one point. Yeah, it was a cut for me.
All right.
Unfortunately,
And
it was hard for me to pick that stuff.
Yeah, and then the last one I have on my list of 20 is "Holding Out," which is off of "Art of Doubt."
Scroll down. All right, Bryan, you want to clear out what you got left?
Yeah. All right. Art of Doubt. I have title track "Art of Doubt." From Fantasies, I had Twilight Galaxy. We did do Satellite Mind. Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. From Live It Out, I have Live It Out. From Pagans in Vegas, I have Celebrate. And I think that clears me out. Yeah.
So, just as an interesting note, Fantasies, the only 2 songs that didn't get played by one of the 3 of us, Blindness and Front Row. And those were the 2 that I cut easily.
Yeah, that record doesn't end strong for me. Like they're still good, but it doesn't. I don't know. It's front loaded with some fucking bangers, and then just kind of peters out for me.
I love looking at stuff like that, and also interestingly enough, as much as we love Synthetica, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that we didn't play, and then
I wanted to put the Wonderlust just because it was one of the last things that Lou Reed ever recorded, and it was released posthumously.
It's so good.
Yeah,
I had that up until
that was on my initial pass through. Yeah,
whenever was it yesterday? Like I messaged you guys, like, well, this sucked.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's been worse starts, I suppose.
Yeah. Depeche Mode was the worst start, I think.
Yeah. We've got Help I'm Alive is the one that got through all the way easily.
Yeah.
So here's what we have to pick through to get 9. Youth Without Youth, The Void, Stadium Love, Dress to Suppress, Die Happy, Hustle Rose, Too Bad So Sad, The Shade, Sick Muse, Raw Sugar, Satellite Mind, Speed to Collapse, Patriarch on a Vespa, and Black Sheep. So
well, I definitely want Black Sheep, and I want The Void on there as well.
So you guys had Black Sheep. I didn't have it, but the one thing I said in describing the band was that it reminds me of Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
So if a band can feel like that movie, why would we not have the song from that movie?
Right. Yeah.
And like Bryan said earlier too, it encapsulates the greatness of that band.
It is.
Metric,
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. The quintessential song of theirs for me.
And then so the other one was The Void.
Yeah, that's such. I want that album represented, obviously, because it's their best to me. But The Void is one of my favorite tracks from it.
So The Void was the I didn't have. So no, I'm with that. I love that entire record. So Is there anything sticking out to you that needs to be in, Hector?
Boy, I don't know. Let's see. So we just added Black Sheep in the Void. Is that what just happened?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, and then what do we have left?
All right, so
and what's in the conversation?
So we still have Youth Without Youth, Stadium Love, Dress to Suppress, Die Happy, Hustle Rose, Too Bad So Sad. Let me read it from over here so I can scroll with you guys. Too Bad So Sad,
Yeah.
Sick Muse, Raw Sugar, Satellite Mind, Speed the Collapse, Patriarch on a Vespa, and The Shade.
I'm gonna go with Dress to Suppress. That one. One of those songs that I play back to back. You know, just one listening to it once through isn't enough. But that's my vote.
I was the holdout on that one, and I just what the album represented, so that works for me too.
All right, so that gives us 4. All right, so now we need to let's make some cuts. How important is album representation versus their great album representation? If you understand what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we all kind of had the same feelings about Pagans in Vegas.
Yeah. But overall, with their library, it seems like they'll take 2 steps forward, and then the next album they take a step back. Like we've said at the beginning, it's none of the albums are horrible. It's just like they seem to learn a couple things as they go. But
yeah,
well, every other album is stronger, and like I said, 2 steps forward with this album. The next album's maybe a step back. And then the next one's 2 steps forward. Probably best to go with their great albums, like
okay.
The better
representing. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So then lose anything from Pagans in Vegas and Grow Up and Blow Away, because that's how it felt from the conversation.
Oh boy, man. Yeah. I'm still.
I mean, I'm. Isn't Grub Blow Away in the conversation?
The actual song? No.
Yeah.
It is, no.
Nope.
Right.
No, it went into the trash. Did we go
pick it, Justin, or no? Just
I did not have it. No.
Okay.
So
I'll be okay if we let that one go.
So the 2 from that album we have are Too Bad So Sad and The Shade.
No, the Shade's from.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong album.
Yeah.
Raw Sugar is the only one we have from Grow Up and Blow Away. And I got to be honest, like as far as like Against the Tall Trees of everything else we have left, Raw Sugar is probably the weak one.
Mm-hmm. I'll go with that, yeah.
All right. So let's lose Raw Sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we look at Pagans in Vegas, Too Bad So Sad, and The Shade, do they...
I really want The Shade to go through though, but I'm fine with cutting it though.
So what do you think about let's lose Too Bad So Sad, keep The Shade, and not bump it through if we have room at the end?
Sure, that works.
Because we gotta start making some moves here.
All right.
So now by the looks of it, we have like all of their best stuff.
Let's put Stadium Love through. I was the holdout on that one, but I kind of regret it.
That one does. The more you listen to it, the more infectious it kind of becomes.
No, what's funny is you say that, and like I didn't even make that correlation because the first time, I've already said this, so I hate repeating myself, but to kind of hammer home your point, the first time I heard Stadium Love, I just didn't hear anything I wanted to cut.
Mm-hmm.
And the second time I heard it, I was like, holy shit, this is great. So I think you're spot on with that. And I didn't necessarily feel that with many of their other songs. Like I loved them immediately. So, okay. So now we have 2 through from Fantasies, and we still have Sick Muse and Satellite Mind remaining. Do we care about loading with one record?
I would rather get another one from Synthetica before we start overloading.
Okay, so we have Youth Without Youth and Speed the Collapse left, which I had both. So
I was the holdout on Youth Without Youth. Speed the Class is fantastic, but I think it goes. It plays with Breathing Underwater. So without it, it's kind of, I don't know. So I would go with Youth Without Youth, I think.
Oh, all right. I'm with it. Again, I had both. So how do you feel about that, Hector?
Yes, Youth Without Youth was on mine. So yeah.
All right. So let's lose Speed the Collapse. All right. And let's see. We've got Dress to Suppress from Art of Doubt. The only other thing left is Die Happy. Is that?
I love Die Happy though. I think it's great.
I do love that. I do regret not putting that on mine.
Let me.
I mean, the lyrics are fantastic. I mean, they're very relevant right now. So.
All right. So what do you think? Do we put it through?
I would
happy.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do it.
I would die happy if we put that song on our playlist.
All right. So that gives us 7. So 3 of these are in. 2 of them are out. Hustle Rose, The Shade, Sick Muse, Satellite Mind, and Patriarch on a Vespa.
Every time you say Patriarch on a Vespa, I love that. What a great title for a song.
I want that to go through just because Poster of a Girl didn't go through.
Again, I had it on my list, so I'm with it. All right. So now
and cosign.
All right.
It's like a Morrissey song title. Like I think that's why I love it. It's like Hairdresser on Fire, Patriarch on a Vespa. Yeah.
You did bring up Morrissey just now. I didn't realize that this band has covered, like, they've covered Morrissey, they've covered Blondie.
Yeah.
They have a great cover of Pink Floyd's Nobody Home that I think James Shaw sings the vocals, the guitarist. They've covered Bob Dylan's song, a Neil Young song. Like, it's crazy. I just found this out today. and a Morrissey song.
All right, so that gives us 8.
All right.
So we need to make 2 cuts. So now's when we got to think about representation, because we still have The Shade lingering around, which, if we want album representation, then Hustle Rose and The Shade are in. If we just want to load up with more fantasies, Sick Muse and Satellite Mind are in. Or
we have 8 picks, right?
Yeah,
we pick 2 more.
Right.
I would go with The Shade and Sick Muse. Those are my picks, but.
Right.
I would go. My 2 picks are Sick Muse and Satellite Mind.
All right, so let's lose Hustle Rose, because by the sounds of it, that one's out. So we've got Sick Muse.
Because my favorite part of doing this show was rediscovering Pagans in Vegas, which I slept on originally. Mm-hmm. So that one's fresh in my mind with these songs are great, and I wish I liked them, appreciated them earlier. So I kind of just want to put one from that record just to have it there. So, and that's a good one.
So you both have Sick Muse. I had Sick Muse on my additional list. So let's put that through. So the showdown is The Shade and Satellite Mind. I'm inclined to agree with Bryan because I like to tidy. I like my list tidy with representation.
Yeah.
But if I'm being honest, Satellite Mind was on my first go through. I don't think The Shade
was on mine too. Yeah.
Yeah, I can go with you guys. I'm just so happy that Dress to Suppress made it onto the ultimate list. So, and The Void.
All right,
so I can go with you guys.
All right, we got it then. Here's our 10. Help, I'm Alive. Help, I'm Alive. Black Sheep. The Void. Dress to Suppress. Stadium Love. Youth Without Youth. Die Happy. Patriarch on a Vespa. Sick Muse, and The Shade. All right, let's put the feet to the fire. Hector, what's the 1?
The first song on the album?
Yeah, what's
that what we're doing?
Yeah, what's the number 1 with a bullet? And to anybody who's new to the show, every year Alfredo Torres and I do a best of the year, which includes 1 representation, 1 song from each episode. So which song will be Metric's representation in that conversation?
I'm going to go with the obvious, Black Sheep.
That's my pick, and I also think it's the one that Fredo would pick because it opens up with her going, "Oh yeah!" It's super sexy. He'd be like, "Oh, dudes, I'm getting so hot listening to the song right now."
I can't argue because, again, like the reason I had no resistance to passing it through, I got the vibe of that movie in pretty much through their entire discography, especially the early work, but pretty much through their entire discography. So, like, who am I to stand in the way of that? So the only other one I'd consider is Help I'm Alive, mostly because we had it unanimous. So
that was my second choice, regardless of us all picking, because I assumed it would go through when I was picking my number one with a bullet, and I was like, well, that's my second choice would be that one there. But I think that Black Sheep is. I can't imagine you hear that song and not like it, like, and just not immediately be just engaged with it, because that's how I was when I first heard it. I was like, oh my god, this song is amazing.
All right, so the next time you all will be with, I don't know, like Hector kind of fell out of rotation, unfortunately. With everything going on, I need to do better at getting people back into rotation. So it's on me. But because the last time you were here, I believe, was the Shins. And so
that was a fun time.
I'm trying to recall what I know. You're signed up for at least a handful of others that probably have panels. So I'll take a look and see if we can't get you in here more. And Bryan, we talked about St. Vincent. The panel is finally put together for that. You know, we'll start narrowing down and honing in on that. So
I could talk about that woman for the rest of my life.
So I guess with that, though, Metric, learn them and love them, people. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.